"Look, Sam, you found someone's earring," Mary said, puzzled. "I don't own anything like that. Do you know where it came from or whose it is?" "I can't imagine," her husband replied, wearing a woeful expression. "For some reason, I think you might imagine something," she pressed. "What are you hiding? We've been going to the country for 2 years now, and the longer we go, the stranger it all feels. I thought things were just out of place, but now there's this earring. Why do we have such a peculiar schedule? Why did you refuse to spend your vacation there?" Sam fell silent, fear gripping him. "Well, I can't believe you have another woman," Mary said softly. "You're not that kind of person. Did something happen? Are you in debt? Did some relatives show up?" "Nothing happened. Just give me the earring and I'll return it," he said quickly. "And to whom do you plan to give it?" Sam looked at her face and, seeing no judgment there, finally relented. He considered it a great achievement to have been accepted into a prestigious university. The connections he made seemed like a promising start for his future career. As an architect, he thought, he would have a respectable profession, and his diploma would open many doors. However, life turned out to be more challenging than Sam anticipated. Even with honors, his diploma did little to help him find clients. He never managed to secure a permanent position and often lay awake at night, striving to meet each client's desires while balancing his vision of beauty, functionality, and convenience. He aimed to create masterpieces, but no one was interested. People preferred standard designs modeled after European styles, sleek, luxurious impressions that often lacked originality and practicality. Typically, conversations unfolded like this. "Understand that roof shape will ruin your house. Look at those joints. Water will collect there. In winter, it'll freeze and damage the roof, and then it will seep into the walls, compromising the insulation. Give it a few years, and you'll have a structurally unsound house. It's beautiful and trendy, and it's your job to ensure the insulation stays intact," the client replied nonchalantly. "It's impossible. Water will still pool there. You could install gutters with a heating cable, but they won't look good. If you want to avoid constant repairs, you need to. Will you take the job or not?" Sam squinted for a moment. "I can't take it. You have to understand that if I create a project like this, it will ruin my reputation." "Then I'll find another architect. Good luck." "Goodbye to you too," Sam sighed, watching as an order he had labored over for nearly a month slipped away. One opportunity had turned into a complete disaster. Initially, it seemed extremely promising. A young couple wanted a lavish home and were willing to trust the architect entirely. "You're independent, have great taste, always work hard, and charge less," the client stated in a bored tone. "All we need from you is imagination. Cost isn't an issue, but the house must be worth every penny, do you understand?" Sam did understand. This was his chance to break through. He worked tirelessly, pouring his heart into the project, and soon the sketches were approved. He prepared the full project and all necessary documentation, overseeing every aspect of construction, battling suppliers for the best materials, and inviting a landscape designer, a good friend of Nicholas. But then disaster struck. A drunk driver in a truck loaded with materials crashed into the temporary construction fence, causing extensive damage. The building supplies were wrecked, and the approved budget was already spent. "You signed the contract," the client stated coldly. "You chose the contractors, which means you vouch for this person. The contract clearly states that the contractor must deliver results within the specified time frame. The budget is laid out there too." "I know," Sam replied dully. In a fit of despair, he turned to Nicholas. "Could you buy my dacha? It was left to me by my parents, and it's in good shape. I desperately need the money." "What happened?" Nicholas asked. Sam explained the situation. "Is this even possible? Wait, my wife Emma is a lawyer. She'll take a look at the contract." Nicholas's wife reviewed the document and shook her head. From a legal standpoint, There's nothing to contest. You need to read your contracts more carefully." Sam nodded sadly, not expecting anything different. He turned to his friend. "So, will you buy it?" Although the project had earned him recognition and status, it hadn't brought in any profit. The money he was supposed to receive for his work, along with what he got for selling the dacha, barely covered his expenses. He had to apply for a bank loan. Then luck smiled on him. Mary became his manager. To the struggling architect, she seemed like a heavenly figure, beautiful, intelligent, and unexpectedly kind. He wanted to ask her out, but felt embarrassed since he didn't even have enough money for a shawarma. He longed to impress her, but all his income went toward paying off the loan, leaving him in a tiny rented room without a car, and she knew that. And so Sam began to lie. Surprisingly, it was easy, despite the embarrassment it brought him. He crafted a small, idealized fantasy where he owned a country house, had a spacious apartment, and an endless stream of clients. He wooed Mary with heartfelt sincerity, putting in great effort to appear successful and masking the reality of his failures. Strangely enough, it worked. Mary trusted him and reciprocated his feelings. "I've lied so much. I don't know how to keep this up," he once confided to Nicholas. "Eventually, Mary will find out the truth. It's your choice, but you should consider telling her," Nicholas replied. "She's so perfect, and I'm just me," Sam lamented. "That's exactly it. Listen to yourself. If she's as wonderful as you say, she'll understand," Nicholas insisted. "I can't," Sam replied bitterly, burying his forehead in his hands on the table. They were sitting at the dacha, where a pressing issue loomed. Sam had talked so much about it that Mary wanted to visit. He had no idea how to hide the presence of others in the house, or how to persuade them to vacate for a few days. Nicholas and Emma often visited, and Sam felt ashamed to ask them to leave. Deep down, he knew he had no right to do so. "Fine, let's try it your way," Nicholas sighed. Sam attempted to think logically. That project had cost him the dacha, but it had also brought him the best partner in the world. He found himself lying constantly, but as time passed, those lies began to morph into a semblance of truth. The young couple lived in a spacious apartment, occasionally escaping to the countryside. The apartment belonged to Mary, and Sam worked hard to avoid feeling like a freeloader. He poured more effort into his work, and gradually his financial situation began to improve. Debts were shrinking, his reputation in the architectural community was growing, and clients were beginning to line up. There was just one lingering problem: the dacha. Of course, Sam found a way to manage. He, Nicholas, and Emma developed a complex schedule that allowed everyone to feel somewhat comfortable. Although they couldn't get away every weekend, they occasionally managed midweek trips. It was exhausting to clean up before Mary arrived, and Sam had to tidy up afterward to erase any signs of their presence. But mistakes were inevitable. No one had a perfect memory, and over time, Mary started to notice that something was off. "Was this jacket here last Saturday? Why did you bring it?" she asked one day. "Soon there will be a client meeting," Sam said nervously. "I wanted to get prepared." "Oh, great. By the way, do you know where my mug went? I haven't seen it in 2 hours." Sam's heart sank. Kat, Nicholas's daughter, had broken the mug. She suffered from severe anemia, which made her tire easily and affected her grip. Kat was upset. The mug had been a gift for a small celebration. Mary, of course, didn't know that and thought the adorable yellow mug belonged to her. "I can't imagine. I'm sorry," Sam said, and the first thing he did was buy an identical mug. In vain, as it turned out, since Kat had done the same. Mary naturally noticed. "Sam, you see it too, don't you?" she asked. Despair washed over him as he looked at the 2 identical mugs. "I thought there was only one like it," he replied. "Me too, but look, they both look brand new, and the old one had a chip on the edge. I can't imagine what that means. How about we just relax?" Sam suggested, feeling too exhausted to explain. Mugs don't just appear out of nowhere, so there must have been two from the start. But where did the chip go? Mary mused. Sorry, Sam. I can be such a klutz sometimes. Sam felt a wave of shame wash over him, and he looked away. The most challenging aspect was managing personal items. Shampoos, shower gels, creams, tubes, combs, and toothbrushes all had to be constantly hidden. Fortunately, Emma didn't wear makeup, and the only jewelry she owned was an old velvet piece. She could never forget a ring or lipstick. But Kat could. The teenage girl had recently started experimenting with makeup and had dyed her hair green. She was also rather forgetful. Sam found himself dashing around, hiding colored hair shampoos. His wife wouldn't be caught dead in makeup, vibrant lip glosses, and bold nail polishes. Kat wore an earring in her left ear, changing it frequently to match her mood. One day, after another round of cleaning, Mary discovered one of her rebellious earrings. She had gone on vacation alone, and Sam was busy with an urgent last-minute order. The architect stared at the earring in horror as it rested in the palm of his wife's hand, a skull surrounded by roses on a long chain. Mary would never wear anything like this. "Whose is this, Sam? What's going on?" she asked gently but insistently. "Are there new debts? Are you involved with a bad crowd?" "It's just someone's earring, nothing important. I don't know where it came from, but let's just return it," he replied. "You can't lie to me. Do you think I don't notice anything?" Mary said, searching his eyes with concern. Overwhelmed by guilt and shame, and tormented by his conscience, Sam finally confessed. "Yeah, Sam," Mary said softly. "He's a good boy, but sometimes he can be such a fool." To his astonishment, Sam saw relief spread across her face. The shameful secret didn't seem as dreadful to her as he had feared. Instead of lashing out with accusations, Mary chose to celebrate the moment. It could have been much worse. "Are you angry?" "Of course I am, but honestly, it's just so ridiculous. You're not trading in stolen goods or hiding a bandit." "You really have a high opinion of me," Sam said, nearly choking on his words. "I know you," Marina replied, a playful glimmer in her eyes. "You're as naive as a child. You could fool me in an instant. It's a wonder you haven't landed in trouble yet, and that bizarre project of yours doesn't count. You sold your dacha to a friend, but you're scared to tell them, aren't you?" The realization hit Sam. Nothing catastrophic had happened, and the world wasn't ending after all. He exhaled with relief, as if he had just come up for air after holding his breath underwater for minutes. "Do you want me to introduce you to them? Nicholas and Emma. We can give Kat her earring back." "You will," Mary said firmly, her eyes sparkling with laughter. "You'll definitely introduce them, you fool, but only after you receive an invitation. We're not showing up at their place unannounced anymore. You've always dreamed of living outside the city. I still do. We'll save up a bit more and buy a house next door, or maybe this one if Nicholas is willing to sell. But only if he agrees. You won't try to persuade him, right?" Sam nodded, a hesitant smile spreading across his face. "The neighbor just put his house up for sale. First, your friends, okay?" "I'll call them now," Sam said, reaching for the phone. "Hey, this is Sam. Am I interrupting?" "Listen, there's something I need to tell you." Mary simply smiled.